Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indiana LTAP Highway Funding Demonstration. Today, we're going to talk about highway funding, and we thought of creating this video to give you a visual representation of what highway funding in the state of Indiana actually looks like. We'll use beads today to represent the generation of revenue, and we'll talk about how revenue is generated and distributed throughout the state. I'm joined today with our lead asset management engineer, Pat Connor. Pat's been with the LTAP program now for 10 years, actually to the day.
To this week, to this day.
To the week.
Yep.
So congratulations on 10 years. Man, that went fast.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Having fun, right. Now we're going to use beads to demonstrate funding. Tell us a little bit about these beads. What does a bead mean, Pat?
Yes. A bead, each bead represents $25,000.
So can I have one of those?
Yep,
I'll take that back with me
$25,000.
home, right here. No, let's put that one back in case the State Board of Accounts is watching.
Yep, there we go. Put that back.
Good accountability. So this bead demo actually predates both of us. It's been around much longer than we have. This bead demo was developed in the early 2000s by Tom Martin, Jerry Larson, and of course John Haberman. And it's been displayed in various forms by various LTAP experts over the years. In the old days, we would actually have different colored beads for each fund, and then we would mix them in the room and then take them back to the office, and the students would have to separate all the colors. And one of the innovations Pat brought to this program is using one color bead. Brilliant.
Or I'm just lazy.
The students appreciate that too, let me tell you. Yeah. So what we're going to do today, and what Pat's going to do today, is talk a little bit about, or actually give us a little bit of the story behind the beads, so to speak, and what each of these funds that generate revenue, the story behind each one of these, and then as we walk through this, we'll actually weigh the beads representative of their amounts and then distribute the funds. So, have I got that right?
Very, very good, Rich.
Right on.
You've learned something.
I've already learned something. This is probably not our first take. So, what I'd like to do now is turn it over to Pat and let him get started with some of our revenues. Right?
Yes.
Take it away, Pat.
Thanks, Rich. So over here, as you see, this is our total dedicated highway funding for the state of Indiana, both that goes to NDOT and portions that go to the local agencies. In all, this over here, just kind of go through it real quick, is the federal funds that we receive from the federal program. It's gas tax generated, 18.4 cents a gallon. When you pump a gallon of gas, goes to the Highway Trust Fund, and then we get this money back.
So that's the federal gas tax, not the state gas tax.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
And that's about all we're going to talk about that today.
Okay.
So the point is that this is a gas tax. Here is the federal gas tax. Here is the state gas tax, gas use tax. This middle tub is the state gas tax. And this bottom tub is the state special fuel tax.
And what are special fuels, Pat?
Special fuels represent mostly the diesel that is purchased.
So this is our trucks, over the road, kind of heavy haul stuff.
Yep, and natural gas is
natural
included
gas
in that.
is another, that's also taxed as well.
Correct.
Very good.
And then we have the motor carrier fuel tax as well. So all these funds over here represent close to $4 billion of dedicated highway funding, and about 80 to 83% of those is fuel generated. So as we get going up into these electric vehicles and higher gas mileage vehicles, hybrids and so forth, we're going to see some of that gas tax revenue possibly coming down. And it's just I think it's a perspective to get away that about 84% of our our roadway funding comes from fuel taxes.
So our alternative fuels could possibly be picked up in the special fuels as natural gas is, but our zero emission, our EVs, they're not part of this at all necessarily on the gasoline or the fuel usage.
Correct.
I got that right?
Yep,
Okay.
Correct. In a lot of ways, Rich, I feel like we're in a cooking show, and we have a bunch of ingredients, and we're about ready to make our family dinner.
We're going to make a cake, right?
Yeah,
Come
we
on.
got cake,
It's all
we
about
got
the
a
cake,
casserole,
right?
we got a bunch of different ingredients.
Okay.
We're going to mix them together and see how they come out.
So we're actually going to weigh them on this scale here, correct?
Correct.
All right. All right.
So first, let's go through our ingredients. Like I said, over here was our federal gas tax. Every year, this represents about $1 billion a year that we get back from the Federal Highway Trust Fund. The gas use tax represents about $664 million, $665 million. The gas use tax is a sales tax, essentially. The gas use tax is, in Indiana, our sales tax is 7%. And then of that 7%, it gets distributed a bunch of different ways. Some of it goes back to the general fund, some of it goes back to the state highway fund, some of it goes to the NVH fund, and so we'll go through and how those break out. The gas tax represents our 34 cents a gallon state gas tax, and that last year generated $963 million.
So if I can interrupt you, that gas tax, that's gallons of gas pumped? So with people buying more and more electric vehicles and hybrids, is that gas tax, what's the revenue doing? Is it going down, up? Is it something we should be worried about?
It's gone up, except for maybe can't remember off the top of my head back in 2020, but every year it's gone up every year. Except for this year, this is the first year we saw a decline in the gas tax.
Is it a big decline or something?
Percentage-wise, pretty small, about $18 million.
Okay.
But we've been watching it grow, and then it kind of went down a little bit this
So we need to watch it for the next few years to see what that's going to do.
And since that's
that's a good indicator for us.
Yeah,
right?
I think so, because since it's a flat tax,
it's gallons pumped.
It's directly related to the gallons pumped.
So how does that relate to the gas use tax? If the gallons pumped tax goes down, the gas use tax should go down too, or what does it do?
Well, the gas use tax, like I said, is a sales tax. Okay. They call it the gas use tax because it's not technically a sales tax, because it's not based on the actual price of gas that you're buying that day.
It's based on
the previous month. So they take the previous month average gallon of gas, and they say what's 7% of that, and that's going to be a flat sales tax for every gallon pump that next month.
So how is that one doing?
This one actually went up $100 million this last year.
Okay.
From 2022 to 2023.
So we're okay. We're solvent, right?
We're solvent.
Our formula's doing what it's designed to do, right?
The net difference overall as we get through all this is about zero. But
don't panic, anybody. We're good. We're okay.
But interesting to note that the price of gas must have been higher this year than the previous year.
Gotcha.
Because our revenue from the gas use tax went up as the revenue from the gas tax actually went down a hair.
Oh, that's interesting. There's a learning moment. If the gallons pumped goes down and the price goes down, that might be a kind of a double whammy, right? Not to quote Talladega Nights, but that's a double whammy there, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, there you go.
Yep. And then down here at the bottom tub here, we have the special fuel tax, 57 cents a gallon, which came out to $617,700,000 last year.
And that's the trucks you see out on the highway. Anything purchasing diesel.
Anything purchasing diesel, they use
on-road diesel.
Yep, correct. And then on top of that is the motor carrier fuel tax. So this is an additional 57 cents a gallon that commercial carriers have to pay, and it's based on how many miles they travel actually in Indiana.
And they report that. They report that to the Department of Revenue, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
So if a certain carrier drove 10,000 miles, but only 1,000 miles was in Indiana, they'll pay that extra 57 cents a gallon for that 1,000 miles that was driven in Indiana. So that's the motor carrier fuel tax. And then we have a whole list of different vehicle registration fees that we'll go through. But we have electric car registration fees.
That's where we're picking up the hybrid and the electric vehicle.
We got a hybrid registration fees, and then we have the state transportation improvement registration fee, which is kind of basically a statewide wheel tax that they implemented back in 2017 or 2018 that feeds in the Community Crossings Matching Grant Program. Then here we have different state court fees, which come out to about $4.3 million that go into the motor vehicle highway account. The vehicle fees represent about $313 million. So
Okay.
aside from our fuel taxes, the next biggest thing is our registration fees that we pay. And then we have oversized, overweight vehicles, trucks that are bigger and heavier than what is allowed, can apply for a permit.
Those are fees attached to that permit.
Fees that
application.
apply to that permit application that go in, and then those go back into funding our highway program. We have a cumulative bridge. Almost every county in Indiana has a cumulative bridge property tax. And so this is a property tax generated. It's a locally generated fund for locals to use on
Dedicated
bridges.
to locals, dedicated to bridges.
Correct. And then we have over here the other kind of locally generated dedicated funding for roadways, a wheel tax. So both county wheel tax and municipal wheel tax represented in here. And just to give you some numbers, like the county wheel tax is $106.5 million. The municipal wheel tax is about $16 million.
So that's an optional tax for each county or municipality that they can add to it.
Each county could adopt this, but a municipality has to have a population greater than 5,000 people.
Oh, okay. So
for
not
them.
Not
every city or town, but
All right.
a good majority of them.
Well, that's interesting. No, I didn't know that, actually. So you hang around Pat long enough, you learn something every day.
And then we have the international registration.
IRP.
The IRP, the IRP. So this is a commercial vehicle registration fee that they pay that goes into our highway funding as well.
And that's kind of generated as well as what they report they drive in
Correct.
Indiana versus other states. That's got that same mechanism as the motor carrier.
Yep. Okay. These are similar as they're prorated for how much they drive in Indiana.
Okay, that's
So
the
that's our
revenue.
ingredients. That's our flour, sugar, baking soda, and everything that we're going to...
brown sugar,
our
a little
chicken.
yeah,
we're gonna
chicken
make
broth, whatever we're
So
going to
this is our cooking ingredients that we're going to go through. And next, I think the next thing to do is to separate these into how they get distributed.
Okay.
So we'll start with the gas use tax. A certain 14.3% of this goes into the motor vehicle highway account. 21% of this goes into the Community Crossings Matching Grant Program, which is actually the local road and bridge matching grant program, but we all call it the Community Crossings Matching Grant Program. So if you remember right, the gas use tax is that sales tax, that's 7%. 1.5 of that 7 go into community crossings.
So, do you want me to grab a tub?
Sure.
Which
yeah.
one you want to do first?
Yeah, grab me the community crossings. Let's do that one.
Okay, I'm going to grab the community crossings tub.
All right.
So what do you do here? You set this thing on there?
Yep, we'll set that on there. We'll zero it out.
Nice.
And of the gas use tax, 1.5 of that 7% went in there, which is about $142 million. So we're going to put $142 million worth of beads in here.
So every bead you spill on the floor, I get, right? Or
How about we...
we're going to vacuum it up later.
cut me in or cut me out, is what we say.
Cut it out.
Yeah. So we need 0.57.
0.57.
Almost.
There you go. Oh,
Close enough. There we go.
0.57. I'll take 2 more out.
All right.
There it
There
is.
we go. Perfect.
All right, are we
All right,
done with that one?
Yep, done with that one. Put that over to the side. And I'm going to grab these guys from underneath here. This is the State Transportation Flexibility Fund. So this is $57 million will go into there.
So 0.
Yep, zero that out. Thank you.
Close. There you go.
There we go. So this goes directly to NDOT. That doesn't get distributed anymore.
So we'll go ahead and put that over there for the moment.
All right.
What else you got?
And then next we got the State Highway Fund, which is this one here.
State Highway Fund.
So
Let me
that's-
zero it.
So this is $227,828,000.
And this is dedicated to the State Highway Fund, or INDOT, right? This takes care of our state network, our interstates, and everything that INDOT takes care of.
Correct. There we go.
There you go. You done with this one?
Yep.
All right. You want to put this one over there as well? Or
Yep, we'll put that over there within. And
what else you got?
We got a portion of the gas use tax goes back to the state general fund.
Okay.
So $181 million of this will go to the state general fund.
Yeah, every year when there's changes made, we have to change the bead demo. We have to update it. 575, let's take a couple out.
Yep.
There you go.
All right.
So this is State General Fund.
State general fund. So we'll
Not
put that-
INDOT, but
no,
State General Fund.
we'll put this in its
We'll,
own
we'll
little-
do state and local fund so we can,
So then the rest of this should be motor vehicle highway
and that's
account.
this one right
Yep,
here, correct?
correct.
You want me to zero this one?
Yeah. There's 25,000. Perfect. Point
Nice.
2, yep. So that was the most complicated one. The rest of these don't get distributed that far. So next we'll do the state gas tax.
This is the gallons pumped gas tax.
Correct. So this is the 34 cents a gallon that we'll go
Which
through.
one do you want to do first?
Let's do the $70 million off the top, go to the State Construction Reconstruction Fund,
Okay.
which is this guy right here.
Zero it. You're good.
So off the top of the gas tax, $70 million. It used to be those two dedicated pennies.
There used to be 2 pennies years
Yep,
ago.
because each penny of the gas tax represents about $30 million.
30 million bucks, yeah.
So it used to be about $60 million.
So what are we looking
Or
for?
0.28.
Well, that's pretty close.
And then in 2018, when they raised the gas tax, they got rid of those dedicated pennies.
So it's the same amount, just how they acquire it has changed.
Yep, they simplified a lot of there was a
Good.
dedicated penny here, dedicated penny there, so they eliminated a lot of that.
This is a INDOT, or a State Highway Fund.
Correct.
Okay, what's next?
Next, let's do the highway
Road and Street.
fund. Yep.
So highway, road, and street. Now, what does that mean? Highway, road, and street. So I remember when I worked for a county, it was local road and street. That's the same thing?
The local distribution out of this is the
So
local.
it comes from there.
Yep.
So this is the whole fund, and then locals get a share of this.
Correct.
So what are you looking for there?
0.89.
0.89.
There we go.
Okay.
0.89. Then the rest of this will go into the motor vehicle highway account.
Put a lid on this so we don't.
So that, just for reference, so $70 million went to the State Construction Reconstruction Fund. $223 million went over to the Highway, Road, and Street Fund. And about $670 million is going into the motor vehicle highway account.
Okay, it's zeroed, so the whole thing goes in there.
Yep, the rest of this.
That makes it easy. You want me to stir while you do that?
Yeah,
or-
you got the whisk out here ready to go.
Yeah, that's good. A lot of beads.
And next, we'll go through how the special fuels are
This
distributed.
is that diesel and
Yep. So 1.5% go to the Motor Carrier Regulation Fund.
okay,
So about or just over $9 million.
that's zeroed. Close. That it?
Yep,
And this is not necessarily INDOT, but a state fund.
correct. I'll put this one over here with the general fund.
Okay. What else you got now?
So next we have the motor vehicle highway count and HR, the highway,
Road and Street. Want to do
Yep.
that one?
Yeah, let's do that one. So of the special fuels, $152 million go to the highway,
Road
and Street Fund. Yep, looking for .61.
Oh,
I just dropped $100,000.
15 million, yeah, 50 million bucks.
Nope,
Nope, not right
way over. I didn't realize how close it was.
there.
There you
Oh,
go,
right on.
perfect.
Is that good?
Yep. I wonder if this
Highway
is where
Road
they
and
got
Street.
the terminology sticky fingers, so you can just, these
Sticky
beads.
finger, yeah, they're
stick to
probably
your
doing
fingers.
this bead demo is what they were doing. So, motor vehicle highway fund
Yep.
next, right?
Correct.
All right. This has been in the oven for 5 minutes. Let me zero it. There you go.
All right.
Check your math. Nice.
Don't tell my wife I can bake and measure this
Yeah.
out. Well,
All right, there's your revenue generated and then distributed.
correct.
Right?
Yep. So the next ones I think we should distribute are the vehicle fees.
Okay. Where are we doing those at? What am I grabbing here?
We need a little bit of everything here. We need let's start with the Community Crossings Matching Grant.
Gotcha.
All right. So of the vehicle fees, if you remember, we have the electric car registration fees, the hybrid car registration fees, and also the transportation improvement fees. So those three different fees go into the Community Crossings Matching
Okay.
Grant program. The electric car and hybrid are about $500,000, $523,000, and then about $103 million come from the state transportation improvement fee.
And these are all done when you register your vehicle, right?
Yep.
I got it. $25,000.
There we go, 0.41. Perfect.
All right, so are we done with this one?
Yes.
Okay.
So put that one off to the side. Gas use tax, and then the three
vehicle fees.
Vehicle fees. So that
Three
one is
vehicle
done. Goes to the locals. So then next we have. Let's go
There's some
to Crossroads. So
Crossroads.
Crossroads is a fund that goes to NDOT.
It's an INDOT fund.
Yep.
I remember it was called at one time Crossroads 2000. It's been around for a long time. Was it a penny at one time, or
Yeah,
it may have been
might
been one of those pennies that's now a dedicated fund because it's about that same amount as a penny.
Yep, it's comes up to about $40 million. Oh, perfect.
1.60. Are you done with this one?
Let me just double check that. 0.16. Yes,
Yep.
all done.
Measure twice, cut once.
There you go.
That's an INDOT fund, Crossroads 2000, which I don't know if they call it that now.
They
It's
still
just
do,
Crossroads.
actually. I think it is still called that.
What's next?
So next is
Highway, Road, and Street?
Highway, Road, and Street. $20 million go to Highway, Road, and Street.
That's it.
Yep, so we're looking for 0.08 kilograms.
0.08 or point... Oh, there you go.
0.08, right there.
You got it? That
Yep,
it?
that's it. Nope.
And motor vehicle highway?
Yep, that's it. That's the last one.
This thing's getting heavy now. All right. 0.
Should be the rest of these.
Check your math.
Right on. motor carrier surtax or fuel tax goes directly to the state highway fund.
State Highway Fund,
Yep.
or NDOT.
Cumulative bridge, wheel tax. So these
Those are-
state court fees, $4.3 million,
In here?
go into
Nice.
the motor vehicle highway account, IRP.
International Road Plan, there you
So
go.
IRP goes in
The whole
here.
thing?
The whole thing.
All right. Oversized, overweight.
Vehicles go directly
To
helping
NDOT, because
the
that's
interstate program.
a
for the
permit
overweight
on the
vehicles.
NDOT network, I believe.
Yep, correct. And then that's
That's the Motor
it.
Vehicle Highway
That's
Fund?
the motor vehicle highway fund.
All right. Okay, so are we done on the distribution side?
We are. Let's go ahead and separate the federal funds real quick.
From the local share of the federal funds, is that right?
Yep. So this altogether represents about $1 billion. The locals get about 25% of that each
Okay.
year. So about $250 million is right here.
And that's available for locals to apply for. That's all the different state programs, the Highway Safety Improvement Program, all the local applications, safe streets
cost
for
for
all that
construction, cost for designing, right-of-way, construction engineering. So they can apply for funds.
And if you're interested in how to apply for those funds, you could talk to Pat, you could talk to Laura Slusher in our office, you could reach out to Kathy Eaton McCallop at NDOT, and we'll show you the way.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so what now?
So we've gone through all of our ingredients, and now we have
Now
our different
we've got to
cake.
distribute it,
And
right?
we cooked everything. Everything's ready to go. We're all sitting around the
we
dinner
gotta-
table. We got to cut it up and
We
share
got to
it with
serve
our,
it.
Yep, we got to
right?
serve it
Okay,
up.
distribution. So it's no longer a revenue. Now we're distributing these revenues. So this is which? The city and town share?
Correct. So about $184 million
To the municipalities, to our cities and our towns.
Correct.
Okay, I'll zero it.
And just for sake of reference, before we cut this chicken apart, it is $1.5 billion.
In the motor vehicle highway account.
In the motor vehicle
Before
highway
it
account.
distributes to anybody.
Correct.
State, locals, okay, wonderful.
And actually, well, no, we'll do that afterwards.
Yeah, the cities and towns are kind of waiting for their share.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
We're coming. We're coming.
It's on the way.
What did I
That's
say?
what DoorDash, so you know, then they want their
Points.
part of the chicken delivery. What are you looking for there?
0.74. So this is the city's portion. It gets distributed between all 120 cities and 427 towns based on their population.
And population is the only factor that distributes, right?
Correct.
Okay,
So here's
done with
that,
this one?
Done with that one.
All right. We'll set this at the local side of the table there, right?
Yep.
And I'll do this one. This is the county share.
Correct.
Let me
So
zero
the
this.
counties are receiving 392 million. So we're looking for 1.57 kilograms.
1 point. Ways to go. Now the county distribution is a little bit different than the municipality's distribution. It distributes by a couple different factors, if I remember right.
Yes.
Mileage, population, what
Well,
else?
it's based on the certified centerline road miles.
Certified center line? There you go.
And also based
And that's
on
certified
their
with NDOT,
vehicle registrations.
Oh, okay, vehicle registrations.
So vehicle registrations, you can say population, vehicle registrations are
they probably pick up the
yeah,
same
pick
that
up the same thing. Yep,
data point.
nice job.
Okay, this is the county share. You want to set that with the city there.
Yep.
So we took out the city, we took out the county, and then the remainder of that tub goes to the state highway.
Correct.
Or NDOT.
And also, before we get to HRS, Rich, let me mention, out of that motor vehicle highway count, there's some refunds that they can come out and other expenses that come out. So
what are those
total
other
expenses
expenses?
come out to about over $6 million. Our some of our funding
LTAP program.
comes out of this $6 million.
County
The
engineers.
County Highway Engineer Fund comes out of this.
Covered bridge.
Covered Bridge comes out of this. And
then the refunds are also.
Yep.
Okay.
So.
So Highway, Road, and Street is right there. We've got a. How does that?
You got
divide?
a tub right there, Rich.
This one.
Yep.
And what is this? This is what I remember as local road and street.
Correct.
LRNS.
You got the highway, road, and street, and the local share of this is the LRS, local road and street. So
this fund has some restrictions to it, right? Or some dedication to it. It's we used to call this the highway department's build a road fund, right? It's a shovel ready kind of a thing.
Yep. Yes. So historically it's been that, but with the 50-50 rule that they made on the regulation for the motor vehicle highway account, one of the stipulations you can use LRS for is equipment. So I think when you were with the county, you were this was your paving program or part of your bridge program. But now, in order to
with the changes to
keep up with their equipment and so forth, a lot of people are using their LRS for equipment as well. So we got $168 million to the local.
So you mentioned the restricted fund. That's a whole nother series of videos, isn't it? Yes. We're not going to get into that today, but that is part of how locals use this fund. There are some restrictions in what they can do with portions of their share.
First, let me just mention the NDOT portion is $245 million. 63% of the HRS goes towards NDOT. 37%, which is the $168 million, goes to locals.
Okay.
So we'll put this into the state side.
So this is both city and county.
Correct.
Okay.
And we're not going to, it's a bit more of another video to show.
Yeah, just to describe how to distribute that. But that is distributed to counties and municipalities through a separate distribution formula other than what we described with motor vehicle highway.
So big picture, this is given to each county based on their vehicle registrations. And then based on that county's population, if it's greater than 50,000 people, 60% is prorated based on population, 40% is based on road mileage. If the county has a population less than 50,000, it's 80% towards mileage and 20% based on population. So
this follows what I'm familiar with, the LOHUT formula as well, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of the same methodology.
The Community Crossing Expansion Grant Program is a grant program. Counties and cities have to apply for it. They must have an approved asset management plan. They submit them to us, to our office for that, and then they can apply to NDOT to be eligible for the Community Crossing Expansion Grant Program. So next we're going to take this down one step further.
So there's one more level of it. Now we have a local fund, but that gets distributed with each county, each municipality.
Yes.
So what do you want to do first?
So let's do the county.
County. So I'm going to grab.
Marshall
How about
County.
I randomly pick Marshall County?
Sounds good.
Oh, Marshall County. I'm sure Marshall County won't object if you end up with a few extra beads in there.
A little bit less. Actually, I think it only goes to 5, so I think that's pretty good.
So you're good.
Yep.
All right, there's Marshall County's distribution from the county share of the motor vehicle highway and LRNS?
Yeah, we just took it out of the motor vehicle highway.
We took it out of the motor
vehicle highway. But
vehicle
technically, a little bit would have come out of here and a little bit out of here. And the city of Plymouth.
So I'm going to zero this.
Well, no, this is where the scale doesn't pick up the sensitivity.
Oh, we're going to count beads.
We get to count beads.
Okay, the city of Plymouth, we're going to count your beads. It says here 21 beads, Pat.
A little over $500,000. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I was close on that. 21.
Got it. Okay, there's Marshall County. Now, the city of Plymouth, their revenue came out of the city and town share of the motor vehicle highway. And there's
Correct.
a little bit of LRNS in here, not much.
Yep.
Okay.
So that is how we start with our revenue sources, how they get mixed in and mixed together, and then how it gets distributed between the state and locals and even down to the particular
The
municipality.
specific municipalities.
Yep.
So what you see represented here for the highway funding demonstration is the state share back there, the state highway fund, which is INDOT, and then the city, towns, and county portion represented here with Marshall County represented separately.
Correct.
Well, there you go.
And just also, I'll mention, our local agencies are not just these are the state dedicated sources of funding for roads and bridges. Many of them are also contributing money from their own general fund, from other revenue sources, whether it's LIT money, LOIT money, local option income tax, but they are usually matching a little bit more than what they are receiving from the state and the state dedicated funds.
And maybe the case as well with the INDOT that this isn't the exclusive funding for transportation. There are other sources, but these are the dedicated funds to build and maintain our transportation infrastructure.
Yep, correct.
Well done, Pat.
Thanks, Rich.
Once again, nice job. And thank you all for taking the time to tune in. If you have any questions, you can always contact Indiana LTAP. You can go to our website. You can find us on there. Someone's always eager to answer the phone. Indiana LTAP is signing off.